Welcome to the Muñiz Legal Podcast, From Injury to Inheritance.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Muñiz Legal Podcast, From Injury to Inheritance with Lizzette Muñiz. She's the founder of Muñiz Legal, the show that's dedicated to guiding you from life's toughest moments to lasting peace of mind. I'm your host, Mike Leon. Lizzette was born in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx, like yours truly. She's a Brooklyn resident for over 2 decades and now a proud resident of Ulster County, serving clients across New York City and the Hudson Valley. And she's also a bilingual speaking attorney who helps families obtain compensation after accidents and protect what they've worked hard to achieve throughout thoughtful estate planning. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the biggest mistakes drivers make, which is thinking that they're fully covered. So Lizzette, it's good to see you. This is our first episode here. So for the public that doesn't know you, let's start with a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background, what led you into law, and how you came to focus on both personal injury law, but also estate planning.
Okay, thanks for having me, Mike. Glad to be here. Like you said, I'm a native New Yorker, half Puerto Rican, half Dominican, grew up with my grandparents, a large part of my upbringing. And so speaking Spanish as my first language, English as my second language, which has served me well. I decided to become a lawyer a long time ago because I just was always allergic to injustice and always had a need to serve the community. My grandmother was heavily involved in the church and the community, and so she was always helping people. So I grew up always wanting to help people, and so the law was just a natural transition for me.
Yeah. It's great to hear. It's again similar backgrounds. I have Puerto Rican kid, grandma in the church. So we're gonna forget the backgrounds for a second. Let's get into the law practice because I see a lot of drivers out there, or people will say, "I have full coverage on my insurance," and then they get into an accident and they find out they don't. From your experience, what do most drivers think that means about the full coverage, and what's the actual truth?
Well, I think full coverage is a myth. I think it's something that insurance agents, it's a term that they use to kind of make the person feel comfortable that they have coverage under any circumstances for any reason, not when the person doesn't really know what they're going to need during the time of an accident. So they just take it at face value. I'm fully covered in case anything happens. But what they don't realize is that there are different coverages that are available to any driver, right? So most people will have at least liability insurance, right? And the minimum in New York is 25,000 over 50, meaning 25,000 per person or $50,000 per occurrence. And that covers, if you're responsible for the accident, that covers the pain and suffering of the not at fault driver. So the other person, that's liability. However, it doesn't cover you. So if you want to have coverage for yourself, you need to have a totally separate insurance, which is called or UIM insurance. And that will protect you in case the other driver isn't covered. Another thing that they think it covers is collision. So collision insurance will cover your property damage. And not everybody has collision insurance. In New York, you're mandated to have $10,000 of collision insurance, but if you don't, you can choose not to have collision insurance, and many people do. So you wouldn't be your property damage wouldn't be protected. So those are just some of the coverages that people think that they have coverage for when they have full coverage, and sometimes they don't.
You said one of the coverages there, the UM one. I would love for you to explain UM, SUM, some of these coverages in the state of New York, why they're so critical too when the other driver doesn't have enough insurance.
Yeah, so there's two things. There's UM and then there's SUM. So UM, also known as UIM, which is uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage, covers you in the event that you're in an accident with someone who's not insured. Um, and typically, historically, it wasn't mandatory to have it in New York, but we lobbied in Albany for a very long time. And I guess maybe about 5 or 10 years ago, they made it mandatory to have 25 over 50 UM, but there's an opt-out provision. So if you're somebody who wants to get the cheapest coverage, your broker might tell you to opt out of UM, and you won't have that coverage. And so what that means is if you're involved in an accident with somebody who doesn't have insurance, either because it expired, they didn't pay their premium, or the insurance company disclaims because they didn't cooperate, now you have no way of recovering.
Right. Do you ever see some of these cases, and maybe you could give some examples without being too specific, where clients thought, insurance would take care of everything and it didn't? And what usually goes wrong in those situations?
Yeah, there are times like one of the ones I just mentioned, which is where an accident happens, the police come, they take the report, everybody exchanges insurance. You think that the other car has insurance. But then when letters of representation are sent or the insurance company becomes aware of the claim, they realize that the other driver didn't pay their premium, or the other driver doesn't alert their insurance company based on the terms of the contract. You're supposed to notify your insurance company about any accidents, and they fail to inform them. And so insurance companies, unfortunately, are in the market of trying to not pay claims. And so, in any event, when they can disclaim or say that they're not going to cover, they will. And then you could be faced with a situation where there won't be any coverage available to you unless you opt to have your own coverage to protect yourself.
So, Lizette, for a driver listening to this right now, maybe they haven't looked at their policy because it auto renews, they don't even check anything. What's the first thing you would advise them to check on?
I would ask them to check first their liability coverage, how much they have to protect others, right? And the reason I say that is because ultimately I want you to have and UIM coverage. Um, and in order to have a high level of or UIM coverage, you need to first up your liability coverage. So you can't protect yourself for more than what you protect others. So if you have a 25/50 policy, consider raising your liability policy to something higher, maybe 100 over 300 or 300 over 300. And then once you up your liability coverage, which is the amount that protects others, then you want to raise your own UIM, SUIM coverage, because that's what protects you. Most policies protect others, but they don't protect you. So ask your broker, ask your insurance provider, what can I do to help protect myself in case I'm in an accident with somebody who either doesn't have coverage or doesn't have enough coverage?
Yeah. But Lizette, upping that coverage means eso cuesta. That means it costs. So how do you balance the cost and the protection for the clients, making sure that they're covered without overpaying for the things that they don't need?
Yeah, well, that's an easy one because honestly, it's not that expensive to up your coverage, and it provides you with incredible peace of mind. It protects you, it protects your assets, it protects your loved ones. Because remember, it's not just you in the car. There are other people in the car with you, and you want them to be protected as well. Your friends, your family, your children. So it's typically only a few extra dollars per period to basically have a lot of additional coverage, maybe $6 or $7 in some cases.
Hmm. Well, that's pretty inexpensive. So let me ask you, because you and I both know this, Ulster County is way different than Lower Manhattan. So in a city as fast as unpredictable as New York, right, versus living up in the Hudson County, Hudson Valley area, how does having the right coverage in those different areas make a difference, especially when an accident happens?
Yeah, well, I think in New York City, I think it's even more important to make sure that you have additional coverage, because in New York City, there's a lot of congestion. You have a lot of bicyclists. You have a lot of these electronic scooters now. And I represent those individuals as well as plaintiffs. And for the people riding the bikes and driving the electronic scooters, sometimes they don't qualify for coverage. And so it's really important for the motorists to make sure that they up their coverage to protect everyone.
And finally, Lizette, as we land the plane here on this episode, if you could give every New York driver one piece of advice before they renew their policy today, what would it be?
I would say ask your insurance provider for your declaration page and review your declaration page. Your declaration page is the page that tells you all of your coverages and what you're paying for all of your coverages. And then ask your provider to give you a quote for increased liability and increased UIM, SUM coverage. Then shop it. I mean, we have so many available providers. You don't have to stick with one provider. You can shop it with others. And that will give you peace of mind that you're getting a fair rate and that you're also receiving the protection that you and your family need and deserve.
Yeah. Lizette, thank you so much for the time and insights on this. Truly appreciate it.
Thanks.
And thank you to everybody out there listening to today's episode of the Muñiz Legal Podcast, From Injury to Inheritance. If you'd like to learn more about Lizzette and her work over at Muñiz Legal, do me a favor, visit muñizlegal.com. You'll find the resources you need in English and in Spanish to help you recover after an accident and protect your future through proper planning. Thanks for listening. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, leave a review and comment, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. As always, I'm Mike Leon. We'll see everybody next time.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.